Okay, so we got something very important to focus on Bitcoin, and then after I break that down, we'll jump into Mara stock and take a look at that as well. But just remember, guys, that we are still in an overall downtrend, and I'm gonna go over the significance of bigger picture fib structures and then the smaller picture fib structures because they are incredibly different. I don't believe I've talked about really the importance of both the smaller picture and bigger picture fib structures. So I want to really clear that up today. And then once I do, it will make more sense once we jump into Mara, and it will give us a better understanding of where we are and why I'm viewing Bitcoin in the way I am going to explain today. Now, remember, everything in this video is just my own personal opinion. I just like to share with you guys how I'm making sense of the charts, and then it's up to you guys to do your own due diligence because, you can't just go off of what anyone on YouTube says. You gotta do your own research. But guys, there's actually someone named Livermore, historical trader, amazing, and he said one thing, and this is gonna make sense on why I'm saying this once we jump into the structure. That the market is a school. Unfortunately, most active participants in the market are unwilling by choice not to learn. And what I mean by that is, if you guys look up Trader Liverpool, or it's he has a book and it's quite interesting. But basically, right, we have been uptrending in the short term, even though we are in an overall downtrend. We have been finally flirting with that 120 moving average, which you guys know how I feel about that if you've been watching for a while, and that's great to see because there's a lot of fear. There's two things, right? There's two views out there, and it's people that are incredibly bullish in the short term, way over optimistic, blindly optimistic, which is fine. And then there's people that think the bull market's over, and that's fine as well. But here's my view, my own personal view. If the uptrend was over, just in my opinion, would we have not seen a more aggressive lower low than this one, not holding these support levels as well as they are currently? And then on top of that, it's just the optimism for a rate cut is just way too high, and I think that's going to influence. We're going to see a lot of that really influencing these growth assets. I mean, we had a ton of optimism here, and then next thing you know, like everyone that was just crazy about Bitcoin just disappeared, and now there's like a mix of the two. There's people that are optimistic and fearful. Here's the thing: I am someone that strongly believes, and I explained why in so many previous videos, so I won't again. But I strongly believe that we can see a new all-time high this year in Bitcoin based off of macroeconomic shifts that are expected to play out. And we have a lot more U.S. economic data coming out before the next Fed rate announcement as well. Now I don't have any expectations for the next rate announcement. It's really a coin toss, but I do know where we are within the structures. So I'm going to break that down in a moment. Now, I still believe we can reach 128K. I've been saying that for quite some time. 128K is my next target. I'm not saying we will top out in this area, but I am saying that I'm looking to lock in profits quite aggressively within the moment we hit 128K. But now here's the thing, right? Within this downtrend, we have some small fib structures to keep an eye on. So we've been keeping an eye, and it's held so far really nicely. The imbalance right here, the last one, the third one that I've been waiting on, finally filled. And with this being filled, we also were able to fill the previous support area's 0.5 retracement at 110.8K. Now, it was very unfortunate. I did say it when we confirmed an uptrend out of here. Quite simple, an uptrend that broke back into retracement but held a higher low and then broke the swing high, and it started pushing up higher. Now, it was unfortunate we couldn't see that point 0.5 being broken, but it finally did, and we filled in the imbalance. But here's the thing: in the small picture, we know that we have some decent resistance, right? So the small picture fib structures say, okay, well, and these are the micros right here, right? So we went up into short-term resistance, simple retracement from this move. We saw some resistance, but we held. If you guys, a lot of them I usually just take off because there's way too much stuff on the charts, but this one held very, very nicely, and it went up into a bigger picture retracement. This isn't a big picture, but it's bigger than that one. For this move right here. So this is the retracement. Now, the moment we broke into it, we came back down and held another small picture retracement, which is from this move right here. And it held very nicely, allowing the price to further extend within this area. And usually when we break into either extensions or retracements, fib structures, usually we tend to see the price hold. After breaking out of it, it holds a higher low or a lower high, depending if we're what move we're looking at. But it held very nicely and went up, and it finally maxed out the 0.5 retracement at 113K. Now, here's the thing, right? Even though currently we are holding support very, very nicely, and we can continue to go up higher. Here's what I am paying attention on. Here's what I'm paying attention to, because the amount of short-term optimism and just people just don't see any risk when they start seeing some green. Here's the thing, right? The 70K IBIT position that I've been accumulating, the reason I'm accumulating that IBIT position, remember, it's to gain exposure. It is to build a foundation on an overall swing trade that will be backed up with some leveraged longs. Now, the IBIT position, remember, every time anyone accumulates, you have to have good reasons to accumulate, and you got to accumulate based on your own risk management. So 70K for me is just fine within risk management. I plan to add much more as long as we continue to hold this red supportive accumulation area right here, right? So this accumulation area from 108 to 115K, it's quite simple. It is a bigger picture retracement from the last time we had short-term deep value to all-time high, and it gave me this area. So as long as because again, there's so much fear when we start seeing some red, and a lot of people just don't zoom out and look at the bigger picture. It's like, hey, well, even though it looks super scary and we're downtrending in the short term, well, let's take a look in the bigger picture. We're actually in a decent higher low area. But until we can have bullish confirmation, then there's no reason to over leverage yourself or be overly optimistic in the short term. So like, we have this blue retracement, which I will move to the right so I can give you guys some context on it. So we were able to fill it before when we had a nice pump up, holding a lower high. It found resistance within the blue retracement, which again is from all-time high so far to the current low that we have established within the structure. It topped out. It entered it, so it was realistic to expect that the price would end up coming down. Now, ever since we came down and created a new low, which is great because it filled in the value gap, the blue long rectangle, and it filled in more of the overlapping support area, which is it's just factoring in some fluctuations we have right here, showing that there is enough momentum to potentially reach this area, and we reached it briefly. And when we hit it, I was like, well, any rally up into resistance can easily be, it can respect resistance and come down lower because we had enough momentum to reach the supportive orange overlapping area. So we have enough momentum to fill it in more later on, and, high probability. And we did over, as well with that value gap. So now what I did yesterday is I used the overall move because we are in a bigger picture correction. I mean, overall, we're still trending higher. Like if you guys zoom out on the daily, on the weekly, it doesn't matter. Monthly, we're trending higher. We're in a big picture uptrend. But until this correction is done, it's just not realistic to be over leveraged in the short term. So what I mean by that is that I used a fib extension from the swing high to the established low and then the new all-time high, and it gave us this area. This area overlaps very, very nicely with the discounted portion, a little bit of discounted portion within this previous red that we have not filled yet, and the rest of the orange that we have not filled yet. And then a little bit of that deep value to show that there could potentially be a strong, we can see some strong supports around 106K. So if we have enough reasons to come down and try to fill in this area now is more significant than this one, because this one's just factoring in a retracement. This one is factoring in this move right here, right? So we can easily continue to fill this, and 106 is looking real good. Like it's looking real good, which is why I'm just accumulating IBIT at the moment, and I plan to add more if you continue to hold discounted levels. Now, to want to open up some leveraged positions at any moment, we can have an uptrend. At any moment, we can have a bullish confirmation. So if the price continues to hold these higher lows and higher highs, and actually break back into the blue bigger picture retracement, at any point we can see weakness, and then we can start downtrending down into this area once again. So what I mean by that is, just because we go up higher, we got to pay attention to the health of the structure, the current health of the value within these structures. If we're in a downtrend and we haven't, this pump right here is the only significant one that actually filled a retracement. So we can see it happen once again, and we can just see the downtrend, just have more healthy these little bullish corrections within the downtrend until we bottom out. We can easily bottom right here. We can have a bullish confirmation, but until we do, I'm just expecting lower prices, and I will continue to build up that IBIT. Now, to to have the leveraged long, backing up IBIT for potential higher prices. The thing is, right? We have to come up into a more significant resistance area. Once we do, the idea is that I will follow the price higher with a simple retracement. Let's just say it goes all the way up to like 115, for example, because we have some consolidation within this area. It's also the top of the red supportive structure, which could act as resistance. But it's all within 115. Is what it's right here. So let's just say it goes up into this area. We can see weakness at any point within this area to come down. If we hold support, and it's still within the support area, but regardless, if we hold a higher low support, not micro higher lows, but an actual higher low swing, and we push up higher and break the swing high that we could potentially create within the blue, then at that point we have bullish confirmation, and I'm looking to accumulate some leveraged because, well, we have bullish confirmation. We're not seeing strong resistance here. If we did, we would have just seen the price dip down a lot more. But if we hold support, break the swing high, then that's good enough. The other way of doing it is that we don't find resistance here. And the moment we break over 118.5K, then it doesn't say that we have bullish confirmation right off the bat, but I'm maybe paying very close attention to it because we do have some value gaps right here that can act as resistance. So rather we go up, top out in here, or top out here, doesn't matter. I'm going to be following it with a retracement to hold a higher low, and if we can hold that and break the swing high, then great, right? We're good. But if we break that support, and as of right now, I am not anticipating that support will hold the retracement support to try to hold a higher low, because we still have even if we come up to 115, 116, for example. But it starts at 114, so like it can find resistance at any moment. But the thing is that even if we find resistance here, it doesn't mean that we're going to hold a higher low, because we're still within a downtrend. The market has to prove to us that the price is strong enough to break the swing high resistance that it can create within resistance. And then if it can break that, then there's bullish momentum. As of right now, we have bearish momentum. It doesn't matter how high the price goes, because it can go all the way up to 120. The idea is that we do hold a higher low and break that swing high. If I miss out on all of this potential upside, it doesn't matter. Missing out on profit does not outweigh, um, bullish confirmation to be, it's not being hopeful, it's looking for where liquidity is moving to. It's as simple as that, right? So even if we go up, what I'm looking for is still for potential lower prices below 110. Like, we actually trade well below 110 and potentially around 106. That's what I'm looking for, unless we get that bullish confirmation. It's as simple as that. So if we continue to see discounted prices, I will continue to add to IBIT. Once we have bullish confirmation, then that's when that's when I'm looking to be more aggressive with it. It's as simple as that. Like, there's just really nothing else to it, right? And I'm actually gonna try to make a video in the future explaining my overall strategy, because these videos alone don't explain it. So I kind of want to do that. But okay, we've been talking enough about Bitcoin itself. So in Mara stock, if you guys remember what I've been saying the last handful of videos, in yesterday's video, I've been saying this so much, is that even though we are in an uptrend and we're now in support, we can hold support for quite some time. Rather it's validated or invalidated, it doesn't matter. We can trade within this red area for quite some time. And until we have a break of structure out of this, then instead of waiting on the sidelines and looking at other stocks and all that, which it's always good to, check on your watch list. But until we have a break of structure sustainably, there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of this sideways movement. And what I've been saying in so many videos since we were back here, I kept saying these simple resistance and support lines, the blue ones, well, it just allows us to take some short-term long and short trade opportunities. Every time we break resistance or support, it allows us to take profit on shorts or take profit on longs, and open up the opposite. If you're taking profits on shorts, it may be a good idea to start looking at some longs. If you're taking profit on longs, it may be a good idea to start looking at shorts. And ever since the channel right here widened and we actually started hitting these resistance and support lines, and that's when they were established, we've had so many good trade opportunities. And as long as you're not greedy, and as long as you are not emotional, you're gonna be, because they don't trade outside of these areas, at least as of right now. They do not trade outside of the channel for very, very long. You do not have a big window to think. If we break support, buying longs, selling shorts. If we break resistance, selling shorts, selling longs and buying shorts. There's not a whole lot of time. So ever since we were here, looking at some longs, right? If you took profit at the line, great. Looking at shorts, and it's just the same thing. We had a very, very brief opportunity, and this is why setting limit orders and not just trading on market orders it's to me is incredible. And then you can set limit orders for yourselves too. You can even do that on options contracts. You can do that, no problem. That way you don't have to pay attention to it. You set your SLs, and you set SLs will be in case the trend fails and it starts to have a break of structure. SLs got you, and you don't even have to think about it. Same with buying limit orders. So the thing is, we had a nice opportunity to take profit on longs. We had a nice opportunity to accumulate shorts, take profit. There wasn't a lot of time. This is why it's so important to just execute those orders. And then, well, ever since then, we went up and we hit it. So as of right now, right, the idea is that it makes sense, right? The idea is, because we're also potentially looking at some weakness on Bitcoin in the short term. I mean, we can hold support and go up and make a new little swing high to finally go into the blue, and then the expected play out is what I said earlier. But when it comes to Mara, Mara is not very correlated to Bitcoin, and we established this so many times in the past. So we're trading this like if it's its own stock. But regardless, as long as the bull market's alive, I do believe a lot of this monthly and quarterly reports on Mara will influence value, at least in the short term stock price. But right now in the real short term, it's simple, right? Well, we hit resistance, and it worked exactly as resistance. We didn't trade above it too much. Now we're below it. The idea is that it was a good shorting opportunity. SL, wherever your SLs are going to be, it can be at the trend line or the little swing high. But the idea is that now the price can trend down into the support line and just briefly break it. Briefly break it. If you're seeing a lot of buying in this area and a lot of selling in this area, why would you fight that? Why would you fight a market that is so much stronger than all of us? Like, there's no reason to fight it. So as of right now, I'm looking for this to continue because we don't have a reason not to think it's going to continue. So yeah, we had a good long opportunity, we had a good shorting opportunity, and now we're gonna check up back on this soon. We have one more trading day this week, although this was super weak, unlike this stuff here, so we can still see the price go up a little bit. That's why in yesterday's video and so many I kept saying the 0.5 is a good indicator because it's a $15.68 0.5 retracement to do our thing, and the 120 moving average is still within that line as well. But regardless, I would like to see, hopefully it can happen pre-market or whatever. But if we can maybe retest this, but that's just speculation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to. It did what it had to. So the idea is that I'm now expecting this price to break the 0.5 retracement line and actually come down into the support area. It's as simple as that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope a lot of you are just focusing on your risk management, because we gotta focus. We gotta focus on the importance of these values, right? We had nice support. We're looking at resistance up here. It doesn't have to happen because we have short-term resistance right here that was filled. But it could still go into the more significant blue retracement. The idea is, though, rather not we go up into the blue, the idea is that we can see strong resistance. And I would not be surprised if we break out of the red into the blue if soon enough after. And you guys can look at the liquidation heat maps, and you guys can look at a lot of things, but even order books and all that. But the idea is that we'll come back into this area and potentially try to max it out as much as we can before we can really start expecting a bottom to be in. But still, even if we fill it, I'm still looking for bullish confirmation. That's it. That's why I'm accumulating IBIT slowly, and I plan to add much more. Another we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. But in September, because we're about to enter September, I'm expecting to put in another like 5 to 20k, something like that, 5 to 20k, and then continue to accumulate that on top of that, depending on where we go. But again, every time I make a transaction, I show it to you guys. No transactions today, so I'll show it to you guys once I actually make another one soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and take care.